We have a special guest coming on here, and we're going to show his video. Is everybody ready? Yeah. All right, here we go.
Honestly, there's a lot of doomsday. Everyone's looking forward to the big one, the earthquake. Anybody listening to this podcast on NPR or this report? No? You guys all just like, whatever, if it happens, it happens. You should probably listen to it, because you're not prepared. I can guarantee you right now. Listen, I listen to it because it's not going to be fun if we survive. You know? I want to go to the epicenter. But I want to be gone. You know what I mean? I don't want to be left. I've seen some of The Walking Dead. Not fun. You know? I want to be out. I don't need to know what to do to plant. You know? I don't want to farm. That's not who I am. Okay? And you can tell by my physique, I'm not what you would call a warrior. Right? So I don't need that either. Like, I'm dead, you know? Weakest in the pack, that's where I'm going to be. If someone needs some numbers crunched, maybe you can come to me. But if you need some heads crunched, no way. That's not.
All right, we're going to welcome Seth Lawrence.
Yes,
hey, what is going on?
How you doing? How you doing?
So much.
Good.
I'm actually really surprised that none of those diplomas behind you are for farming. I thought at least one would be.
Oh,
yeah, do I have that farming look about me? I come from farmers.
I think we all do, Seth.
But I am not myself a farmer. Oh my gosh. Why you gotta bring me up to parasites and just the grossest stuff in the entire world?
Well, we were thinking of doing something for Halloween, and we decided that was actually one of the tamer ideas we came up with. So
Sure. Why do that right on the week of Halloween? Why not go a couple weeks before? That's great.
Right.
Oh, it's Halloween all October. All October is Halloween.
Yes,
I love it. No, I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for the invite. It's really good to be here.
Well,
No, actually,
thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for a while back. If you look on Seth's channel, Disorganized Religion, we were on there recently, so it was a very good time. We stayed up late talking about
conversation.
stuff.
Yeah, go check that out on YouTube on his channel. What is it? St. Lawrence on YouTube, right?
Yeah, St. Lawrence on YouTube or anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's available.
Yay.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts, all these great places.
So are those like educational diplomas, or are these like Mormon accomplishment diplomas?
Oh my gosh, stop it. All right, let's see if I can do this. All right, so this one is my diploma from the Mormon Institution of Brigham Young University.
Nice.
All right. This one over here is my law school diploma.
Ooh.
From UNC Chapel Hill, the house of Michael Jordan.
Right. So
this is my North Carolina law license. So I practiced there for about a year and a half after graduating. This one is from Hillcrest Elementary, 3rd grade. Best comedian.
There you go.
Boom. So I've got all my important accolades.
All right.
Up there.
Wait, what law were you practicing?
So I practiced corporate law. It was with a small firm. The term is boutique. It's with a boutique law firm. That's really just code for small, specialized. So we helped a lot of family-owned businesses in the North Carolina area. Some tech companies, mostly real estate companies, a lot of families out there that own land. I don't know why they own so much land. Am I right? Anyway, so, so that's what we did. That's what I did for about a year. And then my wife decided she could make way more money than I could. So we moved to LA so she could, pursue her dream or whatever. And I'm a stay-at-home dad and, or as I like to call it, a gentleman. And a comedian.
Yeah. And a podcaster. With a thriving
writer, a producer. Yeah. So
we knew you were a producer. You said you had kids.
Yeah, right. That's a hiss and a byword now, though. Dirty breeder is what I am. Right? We shouldn't be doing that nonsense.
I'm a Southerner by birth. So for you, what are the biggest differences between you guys were in Chapel Hill or Charlotte? Where were you?
Chapel Hill.
You were staying in Chapel Hill. Okay, so biggest difference
Yeah.
between Chapel Hill and LA, like just the biggest thing.
I mean, people are. I guess really it's just I don't know. I mean, honestly, the beach is a little bit closer for us.
Beach is there.
But LA I should say Chapel Hill is a big, nice college town, and so it's actually quite liberal in its political views. I guess the biggest difference is people are more openly religious in Chapel Hill than they are in LA.
Right.
It is called Chapel Hill.
Right.
Yeah. You kind of would think that.
Yeah. But I mean, there's just a more kind of religious fervor in the South these days anyway, as opposed to LA. LA, I would say, is more spiritual. There are people that believe all sorts of crazy crap out here, but good old God-fearing people in the South. So,
I tell people I'm spiritual because it sounds better than alcoholic.
I can't believe women collect crystals like Pokemon. There's a crystal for everything, and they're like, this is the rock of abundance, and I'm like, what the hell is this?
Right.
I definitely have noticed the difference. I am not going to lie. I think the one thing about going out to the East Coast, like North Carolina and Virginia, because I did live in Virginia for a couple of years, but I would also travel out to North Carolina and South Carolina because I have family out there. The one big difference that was pretty obvious between LA and those states were diversity, because I would rarely ever see a Hispanic out over there. So when I come back to LA, I'd be like, my people, I missed you. Where have you been?
So is no one in your family Hispanic?
No, they were the only Hispanics I saw, but I never
gotcha.
saw. I was like, okay, obviously, if I can't date anything but white guys, like there was.
I mean, that sounds pretty good, right? That sounds pretty good to me.
Like, okay, my family went to stay in a white neighborhood.
Right.
It was interesting though. I grew up in LA. I was born in LA, and this is the craziest part. I grew up in a neighborhood only with Hispanic people. There were white people, black people, Asian people, rare. And then my family decided to move to Virginia, and it was just white people. Like maybe some black people in the area we were living in.
Yeah.
But it was so different because I was learning what other cultures and customs and how other people were. And I always felt odd. And then I as an adult, I moved back to LA, and it's so diverse. There's so much culture from everyone. And I'm like, okay, I never felt like it was so. I feel like it's a melting pot here. Like I've actually understood, and it's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe just me. I learned to appreciate a lot of different cultures after moving to LA as an adult.
Thank you for sharing. Yes. Sorry.
Do we have to move on or something? You have a topic that we need to get to?
Yes, most definitely.
Jeez Louise, that was like the most Trumpian stop of a topic I've ever heard in my entire life.
Right?
No, you're good.
So
who was the first comedian that you ever saw?
I was thinking about this, and it's a toss-up between, I can't remember who I saw first out of Bill Cosby or Jerry Seinfeld on TV. I didn't see, the first comedian I saw was for sure on TV. I just don't remember out of the two which one it was, which I think proves I don't see color, so that's pretty cool.
And who is the first comedian you saw that could afford a mortgage?
I mean, either of them, right? They both afford a mortgage? I don't understand. They both did really well. Maybe I disagree with why they did well.
I guess I meant not on TV, but then again. Anyway.
Oh, not on TV. The first show that I went to live was Jim Gaffigan. Fantastic show.
Oh yeah, he can afford 15 mortgages and more, you know.
And he needs to with 5 kids, that breeder. Jeez.
Yeah, he has a lot of kids.
It's not just the kids, all the sunblock. So
sure. That's more a curse of his ethnicity than anything else.
Don't I know it?
Yeah.
It is milk. Man. Who, like, if you had like a top 5 favorite comedians that really influence you or that you really like to watch, what would be your top 5?
Yeah, so in no particular order, there's the heavy hitters, right? Like there's the Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr. I really like Maria Bamford a lot. Kathleen Mulligan. If people don't know either of those 2 female comedians, you should look them up. They are both fantastic.
Maria Bamford's one of my favorites. Yeah,
and they both have specials on Netflix. Kathleen Mulligan is hilarious. Really like her a lot. And 5th, man, probably I don't know, probably boy. Probably a Jim Gaffigan. It's hard. I mean, and then there's some like lesser known guys, right? Like Jesus Trejo is great. Nate Bergantz is hilarious.
Big fan of Nate.
Yeah, and then what's her first name? Then Tomlinson. Why can't I think of her first name? Lily Tomlinson.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I think they're all fun. And Mark Normand. Oh my gosh. There's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many that are out there. And I think it kind of depends on the tiers. As far as like people that I think. Like since I've become a comedian and I'm looking to kind of model like how do I want to pursue this career, I think it's that second tier of people that is more realistic to me, more attainable, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard to be like, well, I would love to just pack a theater like Bill Burr does. Wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah, it would be. But
did you watch the Saturday Night Live monologue?
I did, yeah.
What are your thoughts like on I guess the parts that went viral, the Gucci booted?
Yeah, you mean the best parts?
I was a fan of a lot of it because he gives everybody equal crap, but I don't know what you think there, Seth.
Yeah, well, what some people thought was the best part, not what everybody thought was the best
no,
part. And then,
no. I mean, so I watched it with my wife, and we talked about how similar the feel was to his set in that setting as Michelle Wolf's in the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Okay.
It felt like people had invited him on because they knew who he was, but I don't think many of the audience understood his humor at all. Like, I don't think they were expecting what they got. And I think for the general public, like, hey, that is Bill Burr. If you don't like Bill Burr, that's fine, but that is him. Like, that's his humor. Those are his jokes. And I think it's hilarious. I loved his set. I thought it was great. So, I mean, to Bill Burr's credit, and I said this to my wife, there's this point in his set, and everybody should go watch it, but there's a point in his set where he gets to, like, this lull. You can tell, like, he's done these jokes a ton of times. He knows they work, and they are not working in that setting. And he says, plowing ahead, and that's exactly what he does. He's not performing for the people there sitting down. He's performing for the country, which, you know.
I mean, but on Saturday Night Live, why not? Like, who comes in there to just work with, you know, with that room, with that, you know, whatever the amazing room, whether before COVID. I was just curious because it was, you know, it was quite a stir and it was quite viral. And I didn't even, like, I watched Chris Rock last week, which, you know, I loved. And had such a great whatever. And then I didn't watch this. I just saw the clips. My intention, though, has been to go back to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I watched the part that went the Gucci, you know, the Gucci booted over the fence, which I thought was powerful. Just I think because I'm just a certain place, I feel like it could have been a little more nuanced to give. But it's comedy, so everybody's got freedom. So it's not, you know, we talked about that. That's my main thing about comedy, that this is freedom. So I'm not here to rewrite his set. But like on the one hand, I think the tough part was that I know that you're giving a hard time to those whom you think a hard time is due, but it still then kind of flips. You're saying that the movement has become about somebody else, and then you're making a joke about them, which then gives more attention to the somebody else you think the movement is about compared to what the movement is about. So it's not, again, but I think what is it if it doesn't crack open nuts anyway? And and I'm
yeah.
So, but that was that way. And I think that was probably from those who took issue. That was probably the issue. Just that at this moment you're criticizing a certain group, but it in a way it then. You're doing exactly what you're saying that they did. That they made it about them. So you're making.
I don't know. I mean, that's the only thing is, if you're familiar with Bill, it shouldn't be a shock. He's always been this person. He's gone on Fox News and has done the same type of jokes and commentary. He's always been himself.
Yep.
And if you're in the comedy, like if you're in comedy, Dave, who's the co-owner of Flappers, is actually really good friends with Bill Burr. And both of them are so politically outspoken that it shouldn't be a shock in reference to what Bill would have said or anything like that. But again,
it wasn't. But hear me out though. It wasn't the shock about what he said. It was how he said it that people took issue. I love Dave. I've been on sets with Dave, so I love him. So that was all I was saying. Not like I had never. I'd heard of Bill Burr, wasn't familiar with his work. I love the boldness, but I feel like I saw both sides. I understood exactly what he was trying to say, but I understood how it could also be insulting to people. But much respect.
Yeah.
I think what in reality is he's trying to push exactly the big problem a lot of comedians have now. That now we're filtered to not make jokes about anyone, when in reality it's been done for decades and now it's a problem. Should we filter ourselves or should we just crack jokes at everyone? How did you guys feel about his monologue?
I just want to say this briefly because we got to get back to Seth.
I like being here. It's great. Just no.
One of the things is that he did a callback to one of his acts that he's done before, which I really love. And I can't remember who he was talking about, but in his act before, he talks about the Duck Dynasty guy. And people were surprised to find out that he said homophobic and racist things. And it's like, look at him! When was he raised? Who raised him?
Yeah, you're talking about John Wayne.
Were you really surprised that this guy has these fucked up thoughts? Don't worry, he's dead in like 10 to 20 years. He's gone. I mean, there's reason to worry because they still let him vote. But, But I love that he has that callback where he has the realism to say, look, some people, unfortunately, are a product of the indoctrinations they had as children. And they're going to believe certain things that, as time goes on, are going to be messed up. And they've been programmed so hard that, like, it's one thing to say you shouldn't say that. It's another thing to be surprised that a guy like that would say anything like that. I mean, like, yeah.
I'm going to have to go with Anthony's comment that I personally feel that people are getting way too sensitive in reference to any type of humor. Like, there are a couple of people that have called out celebrities on TikTok saying, oh, this person's mean or this person's rude. Have any of you guys met Joel McHale?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I haven't met him, but I know.
Not met, but
I
watch Talk Soup.
Joel a couple of times. Joel is very sarcastic. Like, he is true to character as a person. And he thinks he's being very playful. Okay, this is my experience, but I've read that a lot of people have had the same experience with him. He is very sarcastic. People think he's the biggest douchebag because he's playfully sarcastic. It's like people are taking everything to heart, but some people have their own little personality and they're playing around with you, but because you find it indifferent, you're just like, you're an asshole.
Pause for the cause. Just quick. Who is this? Nick says that Stacy, our mics are low. So I don't
have a. Sorry.
Okay, and I just turned mine up, but I don't know. I know we want to continue the conversation with Seth. So, Nick, if you could just, I guess, place it. If there's any change, let me know.
Sorry.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Give us emojis.
Let me know. I know. And Seth, I was just gonna ask you, like, with all that, like the parallels between law and comedy. Like there was a point in my life I wanted to be a lawyer, but I just didn't have the patience to even kind of go back to school again. But I have always admired lawyers not necessarily for practicing law, but I've always just admired just the knowledge base and the flexibility in the way that you guys have to see things. I'm kind of one of those people who always love to watch the closing argument, like on the dramas, because I know there's real life and then there's what we see on TV. But
sure.
The closing argument. But for you, like in comedy and law, do you find that there are any parallels, and what are they?
Yeah, for sure. And there are quite a few people who have turned comedian and been lawyer, or at least interested in law school in the past. So, yeah. There are definitely lots of parallels. First, I need to shout out to Lynn. Thank you so much. The Palm Springs International Comedy Festival was very fun. It is actually still going on.
Right.
And I believe Lynn was in it, and she also did very well. So that was very fun.
Oh, she definitely would.
If you need to check out her comedy, people.
Yeah, she's great.
She has comedy people?
How do you hire those? She is a mom. You might not agree with her parenting, but her comedy's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, I love Lynn.
I would say I understand.
Yeah, there are lots of parallels, Dana. I think the attention to language and attention to detail, at least observable detail in patterns of behavior. I think those are probably the two biggest parallels. You're taught to think in a certain way going to law school, and to really focus on, facts and how they relate with one another, which is great. Great for dealing with comedy, creating jokes, or trying to find what is funny about a certain situation. So, yeah, I think there are lots of parallels. I certainly have found it incredibly helpful.
I wonder what class they teach you to have the confidence, though, to charge $300 an hour.
I mean, that's the confidence of necessity.
Right.
But if you graduate law school and you're like, oh my gosh, that's how much this cost? Okay.
That's right. You can pay your student loans.
Okay, how do you feel about Kim Kardashian pursuing law?
I mean, more power to her. I don't know. I feel like there are famous people like James Franco who go to a myriad of elite institutions at the same time. And I believe James Franco is probably legitimately a genius. Do I think Kim Kardashian's a genius? In some ways, but maybe not in others. I don't know. I wish her all the best, go for it. But I don't know. Part of me is jealous when famous people get honorary degrees from Harvard or Yale. And it's sort of like, come on, they didn't go there. Harvard or Yale is trying to piggyback on their fame.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wish Kim all the best. If she gets into Harvard, I'm going to be pissed,
That's funny. That's funny.
But I mean, I wish her all the best. I don't know.
I mean, the deal, Seth, though, and I totally admire what she's doing. She's sitting for the law. California is one of the 5 states where you don't have to go to law school. You can sit and read the law and take the bar. You can only practice in that state.
Sure.
But
well, I mean, that's true for anywhere you're licensed. So I cannot practice law here, and I've actually let my license lapse in North Carolina, so I can't technically practice in North Carolina any longer, but I could always renew it. But I can't practice law here. So
But she can't bar it with the sitting for the law this way. She can't bar. She can't license anywhere.
Sure.
Anyway. That's
But she doesn't want to leave California.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
She's fine. Mm-hmm. If anything, California wants to leave the rest of the country. So then who cares, right? Then who cares?
Yeah. Well, what are we?
In general, I try not to judge people on a moral level or wish them harm or ill. Do I think Kim Kardashian's level of fame is legitimate? No, I do not. But it's the world we live in. So, she played the system.
Well, it's awesome when you see someone does something better. Like, how Microsoft actually invented the tablet computer, and it didn't do well. They couldn't sell it, but Apple invents one and they sell it. So Paris Hilton comes along. Anyways, I'll move on from here.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about what tools you have and how you use them, right? I think if anything, that's what Kim Kardashian has taught us.
Right. I agree.
Do you have any tips for up and coming comedians or somebody who might want to be just starting comedy?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think there are a couple things, right? Like one, I mean, I don't know. First of all, what do I know? I've been doing this for just like 3 years. So take what I say with a grain of salt. But it is important that you do it. So whatever it is you're thinking about doing regarding stand-up, you have to get out there and do it. That's rule number one. Rule number two is accept your failure and learn from it. And do not hide your failure. Don't blame it on the crowd. Don't blame it on the MC who brought you up. Don't blame it on, your illness, whatever it is. It was your fault, and that's okay. Just get over it, And then the other, I think, is consume, right? Consume as much comedy as you can. I think people differ on this, actually, and this is where I fall on consuming comedy. Some people think if you consume too much, you're going to start copying people's jokes subconsciously. I think rather, I haven't found, I don't know. I don't think that's truly accurate unless you're sort of weak on material and you're mimicking people. I think it's more for experience on observing how other people do it, right? How do other people tell a story? How do other people tell a joke? What do they do if they are bombing? How do they get out of that bomb? What are their techniques for getting out of the bomb? Those are things that you can kind of mimic, but without plagiarizing them, right? Like there's no copyright on how to get out of a bomb. When you're doing poorly, like I talked about with Dave Chappelle, who's like, I don't care what you people think. I'm plowing ahead. Here come the jokes that I have prepared that I know work. No one has a copyright on that. So use that if that works for your persona. And then give yourself time. I think the other one is just give yourself time. You can't get caught up in how well other people are doing who started before you or after you or with you. You just got to go at your own pace, and hope that things click and trust that they will click when they need to.
That's powerful. Trust that they will click when they need to.
Yeah. I've heard some horror stories of people doing, a headlining gig or like a feature gig before they were ready. And doing poorly in those spots and then basically being told, hey, thanks, but we're probably never going to call you again.
Right. That's what I've heard.
Yeah. So you don't want to, walk faster than you or run faster than you need to.
Yeah, that's why I only open for mimes.
Nice. Mime headliners on your shows? Get out of here.
Yeah. Especially Zoom shows. They're struggling,
Yeah.
So
the Zoom shows are about all that's going on right now.
Right. But you guys are still doing festivals, and that's I think that the festivals have made such great adjustments. I didn't get to catch what I wanted of it, but the Just for Laughs with Tiffany Haddish and like all these great folks, they put everything online and made the whole thing free. On the 9th and the 10th. So
Just for Laughs had their festival. I did not know that. I thought that they had canceled it.
It was online on the 9th.
I think they put some stuff out online, but I think they're going to redo the festival for the fresh faces and everything.
Right. Yeah, Stacy, they told you they canceled it, just for laughs.
Oh my gosh. Does everybody know Dan's a dad? Can you tell? Can everybody tell?
It's a funny story, Seth. It's funny that you say that. Like, a friend and I were reminiscing last night. We had gone down to when Obama was, in getting that first nomination. We actually went up to Denver rather, to like be in on everything and to party. And I will never forget, like we met a bunch of like local politicians, kind of a young crew from LA, of guys, city councilmen, whatever. There was this one guy in the group that was friend of a friend. Anyway, we get back to LA. I get ready for my son to start school, and this guy who I had just seen in Denver 2 weeks before, we're starting together. But the whole time that we were in Denver, he was just women. Like, I was just like, I found it so hard to believe that he was a dad because of the context in which I had met him when we came back. No, I would say no judgment, but clearly that's judgment. And I was just, cracking up. So when you asked him that just now, I was like, not about Dan, but just in general, that we do have this idea that a person who's a parent has a certain way about them
sure
in the world, and then if whichever one you find out first, makes it interesting on the other end. And so I totally like it's just when you said that me and my friend were just talking about that last night, and it's very funny, the observations of people.
And it does come up when your daughters ask you sometimes, instead of a bedtime story, hey, tell some dad jokes, and you're like, okay, this is what we're gonna do.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Thanks Reddit when I can't think of any. So
my kids are like, shut up. Go away.
Seth, I know. Seth, how old are your kids again?
My oldest is 8. She's about to turn 9. Great. She turns 9 on November 1st. Day after Halloween, All Saints Day, baby.
Right. The youngest.
And then the youngest, so I have a almost 9-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 2-year-old.
Oh, okay.
Terrible twos.
Yeah, and she is fitting the bill. It used to be 3s. I used to be like, yeah, man, 3s are the worst, because my other 2 kids were like fine during the 2s, and then 3 they just went demonic. But this child is into everything.
Okay, serious question: did any of you had that backpack leash on your kids? Was it effective if you did?
Oh my gosh, Stefan!
You did, Stefan?
Gross.
Oh hell yeah, my kid's hyper, yo. I can't. No, man.
Oh no, you didn't have it, but you gave it to your kid. See?
Oh yeah.
It didn't exist when we were kids. Are you kidding me?
No, I would
have self-respect when we were children.
Yeah, my mom just let me roam in the. I love my mom to death, but my mom just let me roam in the mall. I could have got stolen.
No, we just put our kids in
twice.
Yeah, we just put our kids in rolling cages. So
yeah, definitely.
I was hit repeatedly as a child in order to be obedient, but then I was like, okay, that's the normal thing. But then I realized how truly fucked up that I'm a stand-up comedian now, that I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do that. And maybe I should just put my kid on a leash if I ever have them. Like, what's the new normal? Like, do any of you guys give a little like tap to your kids to obey? Is that normal?
Who wants to get canceled first? That's really the question Stacey's asking.
I will simply say this: that if I had any of it to do over, and I didn't give a lot of spankings, but if I had it to do over, I would never have touched him ever. Never. And I didn't do as much as many. And by the time I thought that maybe I should become more whatever, it was too late, and it always the few times it just always made me feel bad. Like I can't understand. Like I
feel great after.
I would say not to. I just never. I like the few that I gave, I would take them back if I could. I would take.
It's kind of funny because the spankings ended in our house. It was kind of funny. My parents actually had the paddle, and I don't feel any resentment towards them. Anyway, but I
got spanked. I got spanked. Not a lot. I was a good kid. I got spanked, but it's not like it's not. It's just something. Again, like I said, if I just do over, I would never.
But one of the funniest memories is my mom went to go give my brother the paddle, and I think we were like 9 years old. She does it once. My mom would never do it hard. It was all about the fear thing. She did it. The paddle breaks in half, and then we all just fall to the floor laughing. That was the last spanking in the house. It was like, well, this shit ain't gonna work anymore.
Right.
That's why you got to get the dad to give the spankings. You can't have women doing the hitting. Come on.
Yeah, I never got. I'll tell you this. Muscle. I never got the belt out because when I heard about that as a kid, I said, "Did your dad hate you?"
Yeah, my dad was the one that you behaved around, because after you got dealt with him, you knew that whatever the hell his dad did to him, he wasn't normal. Right? My mom's was normal. Stand in the corner, you move, you get your calves whacked. Or you could just go into the bedroom and take the spanking and get it over with, right? My mom had.
This is what you get for spilling paint in the garage.
Yeah, not my dad. My dad was crazy.
The heel, the belt, the broom, the mop. I got everything.
The chancla.
I thought that was normal, and then as I've become an adult, and I'm like, I'm really screwed up. Maybe I shouldn't do that if I have kids. Maybe I should take a lighter approach. So that's what I was asking, since everyone here has kids, and I'm the
Yeah. I think there is a time and place for almost anything.
Yeah, I agree with that.
When my kids understand verbal consequences, I think the time for spanking is over.
Yep.
Right.
But before they really understand what you're telling them, they don't get it. Like, that's how we're built as human beings. We are animals at heart, right? I mean,
speak for yourself.
Okay. All right. As the white, hetero, cisgender breeder, we are animals. And we need pain. We learn through pain, through negative experience. So
that's how you catalog.
It's not like you got to beat your kid. Stacey,
No,
it sounds like you just went through
a lot.
Man,
yeah.
No, I don't know.
I think,
but I can't spank my kids because 2 of them have a bleeding disorder. So I'm sort of
CPS.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So I waterboard them instead.
Oh, there you hey, man.
You put them in a dark box and give them scary noises.
Hey, man. My dad thought in order to discipline my cousin because he wasn't behaving, he would lock him in the closet, and he'd go get his tiki mask, put the tiki mask on, make sure all the lights were out, and then open the door and throw his... Yeah, my dad was like... I got like, and that was him being nice.
So does he now shit himself every time there's a luau?
I was gonna say, and I was gonna say, I know it's about to go dark. These are the horror files right here. This is not like when you say.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna go any further.
You know what? You're complaining about my slides, and these are much worse.
Right. You're right.
Wait, is your brother out of the closet? Has your brother come out of the closet?
My younger brother comes in and out of the closet. Literally, in and out.
Yeah.
He came out, went back in, came back, back and forth. But different dad, different that was a different that dude's discipline was woo. I gotta write a joke about that. Oh wow. Yeah.
So Seth, we gotta ask you, would you like to stay on for our next segment?
Yeah.
It's our Ask Reddit of this week.
Oh boy, Reddit.
Oh yes, when you don't have an idea, just go to Reddit.
Why stop at Reddit? Why not go to 4chan?
I would. They
don't
wouldn't.
Don't threaten us with a good time.
Yeah.